she's always been my hero, you know. So can't say enough about her. I never think of my mother in passing because I don't know. It's just I know it's going to happen because age does catch you. But well, I would say probably if I had to say something in that regard, if I had to stand up and say that about my mother to so many people, I would say that she was probably she was my biggest hero. That did everything she could for her children, and she kept us all together as a family unit, and could have very easily given a lot of us up many times, but didn't. And so her commitment probably to her children and her family, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, I think she continues on with that. And there is nobody that I'll ever meet in my life that will ever probably surpass that. My wife is probably the second person that I find has all those qualities that my mom has, and my two sisters had gone through a lot of it that I had gone through, so they're strong, and it's kind of odd that all the I do want to say this because it's important. All my heroes are women. They're all women, and they're strong women. My sister's a hero. My younger sister's a hero of mine. My wife, certainly my mother, my grandmother. I mean, these are all strong women, and I can't find anybody that much that I can to look at and see that is stronger. My younger brother, he's a hero of mine. You know, he's been married 30 years. You know, he has done everything that I've done in my life for my children. And he's going to be a great-grandfather someday, I'm sure. But he's also a hero of mine. He's stood the test of time for me. And, you know, my nephews, I think, are going to do well. My nieces, I mean, we got a great family. We got a lot of good talent. We got a lot of smart people in my family, and you know, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know, it all started really with my mother and my dad, but unfortunately my dad was never around to culture it. My mother did, and so she's my hero. I mean, she's my number one hero. I can never repay her, ever. She is. She has done more for all of us than any of us could ever repay her for. I mean, and she would never want any repayment. You know, she's just, this is what she does. I mean, she gives her heart, and she's the most probably unselfish person I ever met in my life. And if I could just be half of what she is now and go through my life, I mean, there are so many things that my mother has done that probably the average woman would never do. And I know it because I was there as a child to see it. But some of the things I just won't say because they're too painful, you know. And but I know a lot that you know, that I just won't say. But I can just say this, that there was never a question in her mind, ever, where she would ever say, I give up. I can't do this anymore. And I don't know if there's too many of us that ever, you know, ever could get in that position to say that. Sometimes we say, Jesus is too much, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't think my mother ever thinks about stuff like that. She never certainly thought about age. You know, my mother really, you know, never went to college, and I think I used to come home even as an adult, you know, married and had my own children, and I would ask her questions about things that yeah, maybe I wasn't sure of. And, you know, she would give you answers that were, in many cases, they were very close to what the truth was. And many times she found the truth for me so quickly that I'd be struggling with a question or and trying to come up with something, you know, even as a teenager, and I would just give up and just go to her and say, you know, I'm just going to go to the one person I know that could probably help me, and I would go to her, and she would always come up with an answer for me. I mean, she would never say to me, geez, you know, why don't you go ask, you know, your stepfather, or why don't you go ask your brother? She'd always give me an answer, and the answer was, as I say, was so close to the truth that just totally amazed me, that she had all this knowledge. And you know, she just never thought, I don't think she thinks about herself as a really smart person, but she is. And you know, I think we all look at my mother as siblings and grandchildren, and we sit sometimes, in many cases, in awe, because she is so wonderful person. Can't find such a person almost anymore. Those molds have sometimes been broken, you know. Not women like that, just, you know, are hard to find. And but I'm very fortunate, as the rest of my siblings. We're very fortunate. We have one of those women, and she is the pillar of our family, certainly the matriarch. And you know, when she goes, that whole era of that type of women is going to be gone from us.